Okay, so what you're seeing right now is I've already created an account, but I have deleted the website from there. So if you created an account, it might show you the screen that I'm about to show you in the first moment that you created it. So I'm first going to start by just showing you how to avoid the steps in which it tries to trick you into purchasing a website. And when you go to hit launch your website, it does the exact same thing. So I'm going to just basically show you how to make sure that your website has been launched and that it's not, you're not getting like tricked into paying for something that you don't want to pay for. So uh, since I don't have any WordPress sites yet, I'm going to hit create site. And so it would have queued you to do this when you first were setting up your account. So I'm going to make this core. If I were to put core, let's put in one that's going to be taken. So I'm going to put in Oglethorpe. Thinking about if oglethorpe.wordpress.com is taken. And it's going to try to get you to buy oglethorpe.blog or buy oglethorpe's plural.com. But since oglethorpe.com is not taken, it's going to suggest to you ones that may be available by adding a number or alternative spellings there. So instead, I'm going to do one that's core 302 section 12, which is us, and that should be available. But see, these ones in the big boxes are the ones where it's usually trying to trick you. But even some of these that say free for the first year, they're going to try to trick you and get your credit card information. So just select the free one. However, you're going to keep having to click free anyways a few times. So here's the first one. It says, or start with a free site, this small text right here, and you have to click that instead. And then it looks like you've finished, but you're actually not finished when it comes to avoiding it trying to get you to pay again. So, and I'll show you why. So first, there are options that you could, but you don't have to answer these questions. It's actually just to give you more options for templates later on when you're building pages. But you're not required to choose what you're planning on doing with this website. You can actually just skip if you want and go to the dashboard. So the dashboard is the back end where you find all the information and how you build your site. And so you notice that up in the corner, it still says, the site title, but it still says coming soon. So if I click the site, I can get a preview of what my site looks like. I can also hit this visit site button and go visit it, quote unquote. However, if I open up a new browser and I go to core 302 section 12.wordpress.com, it says coming soon. So if you're logged in the same browser, you're going to make it'll look like it's published when it's actually not. So if you're up in your website and you see coming soon over in the corner, that means it has not been launched. Just a side note, if you purchased it, I don't know, it might look more like this. It might just look slightly different, but all of the functionality is the same, and I'll show the tabs that we need on the left-hand side are the same. So if it looks slightly different, don't worry about it. But I can help troubleshoot with each of these. So the way that you go to make sure that it is launched, first of all, if you have the free version, it's trying to help you along the way. So there's a bunch of things on the right-hand side that it's sort of showing you how to do. And one of them is launch your site to the world. So you could click this launch site right here if you want to. But the other place you can do it is down in the settings. And there's a launch site button right here. So if I click it, it's going to try to trick me another time. See how it's giving me those alternative options in the big boxes again. And this time you have to scroll all the way to the bottom to get to that skip purchase button here, tricksters. And then one more time, start with a free site, and then it will be live shortly. So now we can see that this coming soon is no longer in that corner. So it is launched. However, I'll double check with the browser, the other browser right here. by hitting reload on the page, and now it does show up. So WordPress will give you a very basic, boring page. And like I said, you can always go hit visit site to see what you like. And I'll show you later how to play with the makeup of what it looks like and make it more catered to your interest and your envisioned audience. The thing that we're going to use the most for this class are posts and pages. The good news is that even though they live in different places on your website, they're actually built the same exact way. So starting with posts, posts will be what your reading responses are, and then pages will be all the other assignments for this class. So it already gives you this hello world post, and I'll hit add a new post. That way you can see what it looks like when there's multiple posts. So I'm going to just put creative title for reading response 1. And then you can literally hit enter, or you can go click in. This pretty much functions like a Word document. Or you can click in and start typing here. Here are my thoughts on the reading. And you can keep hitting enter for new paragraphs. And I'll show you how to make more types of content in a minute. But first, I just do want to note that for this class, when I say you have to do MLA or Chicago style citation, that does not mean formatting. It just means the content of what is in your citations and how your citations show up in text versus at the end, or along with at the end in the reference or works cited list. So if you like are worried about indenting paragraphs, don't worry about it. So part of the point of you writing on a website is to allow you to play with visuals. And so that part is up to you. Question. Yeah, in terms of which part? Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna actually hit save draft, and then I'm gonna exit and hit the W. Every time you want to get out, like hit the W, and then I'll hit view posts. And so it's actually the posts section. So if you're in the back end of your dashboard, hit posts. And then the hello world was the one that was already there, which later, if you want to delete, you could hit these 3 buttons and hit trash later. But the one that I just started creating was in drafts. If you want to create a new one, you just have to hit add new post. So I'll add another one for reading response 2 for the heck of it, since we're here. Save draft. And then actually, if I hit publish to both of them, actually, no, I'm going to save draft because I want to publish them in order that they're due. So I'm going to go back to view posts and then go to my draft and click creative title, reading response 1, and hit publish. So when you hit publish, you actually get the link right here. Ooh, I need to rewind what I was saying. Okay, so you actually get the link right here for that specific post. So that will be what you submit when you submit reading response 1. So actually, I'm going to rewind just for a minute. And when this comes up, you can click view post, but there's another way to get to your post. So I'll show you that in a minute. But I do want to rewind because I want to show you what is due Tuesday when you submit just the link to your website on Canvas. So when you submit the link to your website, if you were to submit this link right here, it would ask me to log in and it wouldn't be able to access your website. That's because it has that extra wordpress.com/home. So just make sure you're going to the outside, the quote unquote outside. So you can do it in a couple ways. You can click this site. If you're in the free version of WordPress and you click your site, and it gives you this preview right here. And in this preview at the very top, you can hit copy right here to copy the link. Alternatively, you can hit visit site and grab it from outside in your browser anytime you're visiting your site. Some of the paid versions of WordPress, instead, you don't have to like double click that visit site button again. You can actually just click the top left corner of the dashboard and then grab it from there. So you can always get back to your dashboard by hitting that W in the corner. And then going back to posts. Now we have the two that are published are the Hello World and the Reading Response one, right? And so if I go to my website, I can see that they're coming up reverse order in order of oldest to newest. Depending on the theme or layout you get, it sometimes switches it to newest to oldest. And if you have a setting preference and want to switch that, you can let me know. I can help you like in office hours. But since we only have 2 reading responses, I'm not really worried about that. But I'm going to go back and then just hit publish on that other one. Go to posts, drafts, and then reading response 2. And hit publish. And as a reminder, you can grab that link right here for just that reading response. You could hit view post. And see, now we're just inside of reading response 2 only. I want that link that just takes me inside of it for when the reading responses are due. So if I go home to see all of the posts, I can see them. Oh, interesting. They're in order. So if you want to grab the link to just one reading response from not that new link that pops up when you first publish it, if you continue editing it after you publish it, before it's due, you can actually then click this link from the outside when you're quote unquote visiting your website. You can click that and then grab the link from the top of your browser. Alternatively, if you're inside the post and you're editing it, I'm in the reading response 1 and I'm editing it. On the right-hand panel is a whole bunch of extra settings, which sometimes disappear. If they disappear, you just click this box that's like a square with the side panel. And some options should come up. Summary. If you click the summary button on the settings panel, you also have the URL here. So you can either copy and paste it from here. You can actually change the link, or you can click this button. It'll open in a new tab and copy and paste from right there. So those are all the ways you can grab that link to make sure you're submitting the right one for your assignment. When it comes to building, I'll show you some more fun functionalities like adding photos and videos and things like that. So I'm going to sort of take like an interlude on using Flickr for making sure your images are authorized for Creative Commons, authorized for reuse. And I can also sort of grab a couple pictures for us from there. So when you're on Flickr.com, and as a reminder, this is linked on the guide to multimodal elements. When you're on Flickr, you can just search from this top bar. You don't have to have an account. And so I'm going to search for a picture of the ocean. And the first set of results are sponsored. Like this is sponsored and this is you have to pay for, but this is everyone's photos is where you can start to access it. However, this currently says any license. It's right there. So you don't know if you have to pay for use of that. So if you click that button, you can hit all Creative Commons. So those photos will have been labeled for reuse in some sort of way. Depending on the license, it might have different sort of rules for how you can or cannot use it. So I'm going to click this picture of this wide, expansive ocean. And scroll down, and the other benefits are that we now have the name of a creator of this image, even though it's like a username and not their personal necessarily. This one's a Julia, but we don't know if that's their last name or something else. A title for the photo, and then when it was taken. So we do have citation information. If you include those 3 plus the hyperlink, then you're set for citation. However, you can also check what type of licensing if you click this some rights reserve. So I don't expect you to know what Attribution 2.0 generic CC BY 2.0 is. Like that is okay. That's for lawyers to know. But this site breaks it down for you. You are allowed to share this one. And you can adapt it, which means you could use it to build a meme if you wanted to, or you could put it in a collage or something like that. Under the following terms, you have to give attribution. So you have to cite that creator. And this one has no additional restrictions, which is great. I sometimes see like if you adapt a photo, it has to be the same license as the original creator. So like if you turned this into a meme, you wouldn't be able to say like, now I'm going to license it where people have to pay to use it, right? So there's other sort of sometimes under the following terms, sometimes here it says like no commercial use. But usually these following terms do not apply to our class. So it's usually good to go if you're choosing these Creative Commons settings and double checking over here. I'll show you why Google has, or where Google has the same setting, but also why it's a little bit flawed. So if we're just in Google and we search ocean, and then we restrict it to images. And I choose, and then I go to tools. I can still choose usage rights and then go to Creative Commons licenses, which is great. Often it's still sources from Flickr here. So you see this one is from Flickr, which is good. Wikimedia Commons is pretty good because it traces like where it's been used, who's been uploading and who's been editing even that page. So that is often good to use. But all of these other sources, I don't necessarily know where they are. So for instance, what is negative space? Do we know if negative space took the creator of that site took this photo and labeled it for reuse, or if they took the photo from a different author and didn't realize they were labeling it for reuse, or didn't realize whether that original author had labeled it for reuse. So it's just a little bit harder to trace in terms of the origin of the source. Other cool thing about Flickr is that you have options for downloads. So you can click this button and then download different sizes. So say I want a medium size. So I'm going to go back to start editing my post and put this picture in. So it's super user friendly. You could, first option, literally drag and drop and it'll just populate in there. Once it populates, you can actually play with the size just by moving it around. There's a whole lot of other options here, like adding a caption right there. You could make this entire image a link, so we could link the entire image back to that page on Flickr. You could crop it. You could apply filters, and then these three buttons you can remove the image with, but alternatively, if you don't want to use those buttons to remove it, you could just select it and hit backspace and it's gone. Alternatively, you can use the plus button to choose different types of content. So one of them is image, and you could either drag and drop into this box or hit upload. And I could upload it from my downloads where I just got it. Also, now that I've done that, it's actually already living in my media library, which I'll show you where the media library is later. But if I go image and then I hit select image, actually it populates not only the WordPress media library, but it links to Google Photos, Pexels, and Openverse. So if you use any of those apps, you can connect to it easily. But media library is where I've already uploaded things. And so I can just click and insert from there too. Another place you can put a photo on a post is this featured image on the right-hand side in the settings bar. I can set the featured image and choose this and hit insert. And you won't see it appear again on this page from the back end of the editor. But if I hit update to the public post and I look at the preview, I'm going to go to the homepage. Sorry, I have to show you from the homepage. See how there's actually another version of it that's appearing right by the title. And this is the first one that I put in the text. And also, if I click into it, this is the featured version, which is much bigger. once I change the homepage settings, I'll also show you another option where you can get it to just preview the post here. So it just is the featured image with not the whole body of the reading response. I'll show you that in a minute. So if I go back to editing that post, I want to show you more options for embedding other content. So you can add a whole lot of things here. So you could search different types of content if I want YouTube, for instance, if I want Spotify. But alternatively, you could hit this browse all and sort of go through and see all the options it has to offer, which there are so many, a lot of cool things. Like you can put a countdown to an event on here from this. And so I encourage you to go through and look at these and just see so that you can think about what you may or may not want to include during your posts this semester and your posts and pages this semester. But also, so actually, if I go and hit this button for YouTube, I can copy and paste a link from YouTube. So I'm going to just do that real quick. I'm going to just put Gilgamesh just because it's a core text. Let's like put this random video. Oops, no, don't want that. Put some random video of Gilgamesh just for the time being. And we're not even going to watch it. We're just going to copy and paste this YouTube link, and you can actually copy and paste into this and hit embed, but you really don't even need to do that. So first of all, I'm going to select it and hit backspace to get rid of it. But YouTube is actually already integrated with WordPress. So if I literally just copy and paste the link there, it embeds. So you don't need to go through that extra step. I'm going to hit update. And so you can play and you can still add captions to videos. So play with different types of content and see what you're thinking about for your posts. Questions on like building the back end of posts at the moment? Okay. Okay, cool. So if we go back into posts, so as a reminder, posts will be the reading responses. Sorry, it just got frozen at the, there we go. Okay. Posts will be your reading responses. Pages will be all of the other assignments for the semester. And so the cool thing is if you go to pages, pages function just like posts. So it gave us this home page. If I hit add new page, it literally is the same builder, but it will start by giving you an option to create different templates, like different layouts, use different templates. So you could browse these layouts if you want something slightly different, but you could also just skip it for the time being and do the same way I was building the posts. So if this is the about page that we'll be doing by the end of the semester, here is more about this website. And then hit publish. Now we go back to, oh, also same thing. It gives you the link to copy and paste for what you would be dropping into Canvas. But also if we go back to visit the website, we now on the top corner have this about page popping up. In a few minutes, I'll show you how to make sure it is showing up there in case it doesn't show up. The first, I'm going to show you a little bit more about layout options that you have. So that was a pretty boring website. So if you go down to appearance, you can go to themes and change the layout, but actually I need to do one thing first. If you go to customize and you go to the homepage settings, if your homepage displays is the latest posts rather than a specific page, it will actually change. See, I was talking about the featured image earlier, and now it only gives like a preview. It only gives the featured image and about one sentence or so of the writing inside the blog post, because now it's like this landing page is where your posts are. So you could do that, or if later in the semester you want to change your homepage to be where your about page lives, you could choose the static page button and hit about, and it would change your homepage. Sorry, about. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Homepage, about, post page. Hold on, let me flip that. Static page. Is that not working? That's funky. Okay, something's being weird where usually you should be able to hit static page and make the about page your home page, but it's not doing it for some reason. So if your homepage is displaying your latest posts, it would show up with your reading responses because your reading responses are posts. We go back. Settings. It's doing it again. This is a funky. Okay. We'll leave it. Okay, it did it. It did what I wanted, at least in terms of making it go back to the preview. Okay, hit save changes. In this customize feature, you can also change the site identity in terms of the name, like the title that appears at the top of your website, and the tagline, which is sort of like the subtitle for your website. But there's other places you can change it that are actually more recent. So WordPress is sort of in this moving from phase 1 to phase 2, where they originally just had this, and now they're trying to implement more of a sort of like drag and drop style editor for the layout of your page. So if you exit this and you go to appearance, you can actually go to a different editor right here. The beta editor, which allows you to make changes on the page. See how it says site title and tagline, which I showed you in that other one. You could have used those side tabs to change. Here you can actually just change it as you're in there. So if you want it to be historical perspectives. My encounters of hidden parts of history. You don't have to name your, you don't have to call it historical perspectives here. You can be creative. And then here is where your menu lives. And if your menu is not showing up, you would want to hit this plus button and add navigation. And once you hit navigation, it'll populate with a menu and give you options. Since there already is one here, we can hit customize this menu, and eventually I get this little plus sign, and I can add, if I wanted that hello world to, which is a post, to show up as a page, I could add it there. But I can remove that from my menu. So every time you add a new page, if it doesn't show up at the top menu, you can add it there, and you can always remove it too. But these block sections are also like you can change more pieces, like you can hit plus buttons throughout to add different things like you can on a regular post or a page. So this is just more for the layout of your website. So I could add an image in that header right there if I wanted to. I could also click the settings side panel and change things like colors. Oops, sorry. Click it. Okay. Hard to select the right sections. There we go. I could change the text background of this section, or I can make this section become a link. So if I want to change the background color, maybe I make it a light blue, and I can change the text color as well. I can also change the typography size, maybe make it smaller or larger. Woo, big. And then I can also change the type of fonts. This says default. Maybe I'll make it, I don't know what that looks like. Oh, that looks cool. Okay. So you can play a lot with the way that things look like here. if you're in this editor, the beta editor. So I'm going to hit save, but then I'm going to show you the theme options, which are just already preset layout options that you could use instead of building here and changing the settings here. You can go in and exit this, go to appearance, go to themes, and then there are a bunch of already preset layouts here for what websites could look like. And since some of these you have to pay for, you can go to the top and filter for free. And then choose one that you like, and we'll implement it and see how it changes the website. It's wild. Let's see. I'm trying to find one that I haven't used yet today in my other classes. Let's do this one, Winkle. So you click on it and you can actually learn more about its features before activating it. But then when you're ready to choose one, you hit activate this design, activate again, and then you can go back to editing it. First, I'm just going to go to the outside to show you what it looks like. Hit visit site. Yeah, this one's different, but it's not very exciting. But you can go play with it even more if you go to this appearance editor where we were over here. It should have more options that are unique to this new theme and layout. So see how there's this new spot right here where we could add a photo. That is specifically in the sort of like prepared layout for this website where I could just make it have this big old picture of the ocean at the top of the entire website. So, and then these pieces will be able to be moved around differently, and the like posts and things like that will have different layout options. See, there's like this extra box space and things like that based off of that new theme that you've implemented. So over the course of the semester, you can play around with that. And those are just things to think about that might contribute to your about page at the end of the semester when you're thinking about who your audience is, thinking about how you've sort of invited them with the layout or picture choices or other multimodal choices that you've done on your website. But I don't expect anybody to be experts on doing this. So for the most part, when it comes to getting good grades on assignments and making sure you're doing posts for reading responses, that you're adding a multimodal element to the text that you are writing, citing all sources, and that same thing in terms of content when it comes to the other assignments, but that the other assignments will live on pages. Any questions on the website building? Another fun thing that if you paid for, you have access to plugins, and plugins are sort of like extra things that help you build give you more options for fun things beyond the scope of this course. So if you did purchase a website, you can hit add new and search the types of plugins that you have available to you, where you can search. I'm going to search embed. So really, with a free WordPress site, you can embed almost any sort of document or content onto your website, whether it's a video, a PDF, etc. But plugins allow you to embed different types of content, and give you sort of more options for how to finesse what they look like when they're on your website. There's other things like I think I've told this class, snow effects. It'll make it snow on your website if you, so there are websites that'll give you this option of like making it snow on your website. But like I said, none of the plugins are necessary for this course. It's just if you want to play with things. And so if you were to go to the plugin section for the free websites, it'll just say you have to pay for either the plugins individually or you would pay for your site. Like I said, you'll be mostly using posts and pages for this class, and maybe going to the appearance section to customize what it looks like. Oh, and then the one other thing is that your media library, anytime you've uploaded photos or any other content like files, maybe a document or a document or something like that, you can go find it in the media library here. You can always upload in advance by hitting add new, whether from your file explorer. You can actually drag and drop into here as well. So if you prefer to upload a bunch of photos first and then go to build the rest of your writing, you can too. And it might be helpful to think about, you can hit save draft in here, but you can decide for yourself whether you prefer to like compose all of your writing in a Word document and then copy and paste in here if you want to be using this as you build. And then just because I want to make sure you get the right link for next week, just make sure that you're going and copying and pasting either from this preview here or going to the outside, hitting visit site, and then copying from your browser. Great, I think that is it. I'm gonna hit pause on this recording and then